3 men, 1 year, 1 shit ton of games. Midlife Gamer presents the Year of Shame Challenge.
Hello, and welcome to the Year of Shame Challenge podcast. Hi, I'm Darren. I'm D5120 on Twitter and pretty much everywhere. Apart from on the Xbox, which it's D5120 with a couple of eyes at the front and the back.
I'm Simon. I'm Si Stevens with a Y on the Xbox, just because it likes being awkward, and an I everywhere else.
And I'm Jayce. I'm Jayce Stokes everywhere except on the Xbox, which is a bit of a theme, where I'm Jason Stokes, just to be awkward.
I think, to start off, we need a little bit of history. And I think, to be honest, Si needs to start with this, because it all originated from him.
Okay. Well, basically what I did, for some unknown reason, I made a pact with the good lady to buy absolutely no new games in 2012. I'm sure this had something to do with her shoe collection. Now, basically, I have a habit of buying games just because of cheapness, and I don't even crack the seal on them. This is possibly...
Don't we all?
Yeah, I mean, this is my excuse for having Homefront in my collection.
Right.
Now, all my consoles have been hardwired behind walls, so I have to share the TV with her as well.
Okay.
So when we get to the season of shite, i.e. the X Factor, Pillocks dancing on ice, and I used to be a celebrity, I want out this jungle,
Yeah.
I don't get the TV, so I don't get any game time at all. So I see games. I mean, this is silly season as well, that normally when this happens. So I constantly buy games and buy games and buy games, and they just sit on my shelf collecting dust, and then I look at them and go, I need to play that. And then something else comes out, so I buy that as well, and I put it next to the games that haven't been played. And it just carries on and carries on and carries on. So I made this pact that I was not going to buy any games in 2012, and it was going so well. I got to about June, July, and I hadn't bought a single game. And then I had this conversation with two gentlemen, and they went, this would be an excellent thing to do. This would be a great podcast. We've got to do this. But they weren't interested in this, so I called on Jayce and Darren.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
To be honest, I saw your tweet about it, and I thought, you know what, that's a cracking idea. I'm constantly looking at a pile of shame. Like yourself, is if something comes... I mean, I was speaking with Jayce earlier. Basically, if a new game a newish game drops below 20 quid, I tend to buy it. And an older game, if it drops below 10, I tend to buy it. And using sites like Post a Bargain and Hot UK Deals and all the rest of it, you just end up with so many bloody games in your pile. Summer of Arcade, all that kind of stuff, Steam sale. I just thought, you know what, if I don't buy a game for a year and just use the actual pile, then I might actually get round to giving some of these games some love that I've just neglected for the last God knows how many years.
I'm the same as well. I've always had this affliction where I can't resist a bargain. And I'm not one for buying new games, to be honest with you. I never generally buy a new game when it comes out. I'll wait for it to hit that price point. And it's pretty much the same as yours, Dad, the £20 sort of price point. But I do the same. I get... My problem is I get distracted. When I'm playing a game, I'll get distracted by something else. And it will just go on the pile. So I've got lots of games that are started but haven't been finished. And that's why my pile's grown up.
Yeah. Oh, so we set ourselves some simple rules. No hard cash paid for a game between Eurogamer Sunday, so 30th of September 2012, and whenever Eurogamer Sunday is next year. Just fingers crossed there is a Eurogamer next year. We can receive gifts for birthday or Christmas.
But not kicking the arse out of it.
Exactly, yeah. You can use existing points on Xbox Live, PSN, Nintendo.
Again, obviously, we can't have 20,000 points stockpiled. So we're going to limit that one as well.
Exactly. You can trade games in to get points and get games. You can use a joker, but it is just one for the entire year, which I believe Jayce, you've already spent yours.
Yeah, that's true.
You can use a rental service if you want. It is only current generation, so if you've got any games from your VIC-20 set up in your loft, they don't count.
This is my saving grace because I'm a bit of a retro head, so I'll be diverting that cash that I would have spent on games onto retro stuff, I think.
Yeah.
And the other current generation we're not using is iOS, because that would just kill us.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
I mean, I think that's even worse. The iOS games, when EA have a sale or somebody has a sale and it comes down to 69p, I'm all over them.
Certainly, you got things like at the moment you got the Labor Day sales, and there aren't so many this time. But when Thanksgiving comes around and then Christmas as well, you always tend to find the iOS App Store is just full of things that I want. So yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, I mean, what kills me on that is a little app that Sir Darren of Bulldog sent me details of, App Shopper, and so as soon as something comes down to 0, I get alerted to it. And yeah, of course, 0, that's a bargain.
Yeah. We can work on those prices. We decided that just to give us a little bit of a push is we'd all choose 5 games from our pile every month and let the community decide one that we have to get through. We've already done that, the game that we'd like to play through for October, but we'll come to those later.
So we're going to run down the current state of play with all of our piles and also talk about our style of play as gaming. So I'll go first because my pile is fairly meagre compared to you two lads.
Yeah.
So I've currently got 79 games on my list, which doesn't seem a great deal, to be honest with you. But given that we've only got 52 weeks to play them and I'm a bit of a stupid completionist and I like difficulty a bit too much, it probably should be enough for me.
Yeah. Currently, I'm sat with 204 games in my pile. They're Steam, but only the Mac version. Xbox, PS3, Vita, 3DS, and Wii. Realistically, I stopped buying games about a week back. The only one left to go into the pile is Borderlands 2, which is already pre-ordered and paid for, and it should be out before the challenge starts. As far as Xbox points, I think I'm down to about 1,000 points. I've got about £2 on PSN and about £1 everywhere else. So I'm not going to be buying any more games, which is good. I'm quite looking forward to get through the pile. I do tend to play the games on normal.
Ooh.
I know. However, I do have an addiction to side quests. I've put, over 80 hours into Skyrim and not even left the first town, so that's kind of play around when I get to an RPG. So it's going to be challenging for me. But again, my goal is, if I can get rid of 10, 15 games off my pile, then I've won.
Alright, and I have, and you guys ready for this one? 268 games sitting in my pile. My pile has its own room. In fact, my pile has its own postcode. And it's back to that for the very reason I started this. I've got 185 Class 1 games. They're sitting on my shelf, they're doing nothing, they're collecting dust. Now, due to lack of time of playing it, and for the fact that I get sidetracked by shiny squirrels and things like that in games, I just have to do a side quest. If I see a side quest, I just can't leave it and not do it. And I think that's going to be the hardest part of this game. I've got 268 games on this pile. I'm going to have to leave it. I'm going to have to just finish the game.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to do that. I get Skyrim sitting on my pile, and the amount of side quests on that's just going to be painful to play without actually going off on tangents.
I think we all need to set aside 1 month to all do Skyrim, because we're all in the same sort of boat with that. We all do the side quests. And I know that I've put in over 100 hours and I haven't done any of the main quests past the first couple of missions. So, yeah, I think 1 month, if we all hit that together, that could be an interesting one.
Well, what worries me slightly is the new patch, the
Hearthfire?
Where it kind of puts a Minecraft build your own house into it.
Don't mention Minecraft.
But again, I can see that take. So maybe that is just a month to get through the main story and build a house.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's got to be done. Now, Spacebucks, I have got £53 sitting on a certain gaming website's shop, but £49.99 of that is assigned to the Guitar Legend game that is Rocksmith. And I pre-ordered that about 7 months ago, and it's all paid for. It's all tickety-boo and happy. I have got 13,000 Microsoft points, but that is purely for going to be the online passes for any game that I do rent.
Okay.
So it's limiting myself there. I'm also going to be limiting myself in the rentals as well, but I'll come to that later because it's from a question that was asked to us. And I have got £70 of PSN credit, but £40 of that is going into PlayStation Plus once it's launched for the Vita, because I really do need the free games.
Well, to be
sorry, the very idea of your pile site is just mind-boggling to me.
No, to be honest, a reason I've got such a large pile is because I subscribed to the PlayStation Plus for an entire year. And I just got such a backlog of games that I wasn't playing on the PlayStation Plus. I was playing one of two of them, but that was distracting me from my actual pile. And I stopped it, I cancelled it because I was just getting too many unplayed games, just virtual ones. So I don't know how you're even going to make a dent on your pile, Si.
Look, if I can get to the end of this year and this pile isn't bigger, I think I'll be a happy man. I mean, I write, you guys know, I write reviews for the site as well. So yeah, I get review code as well. Just to add to my pile. I think what I might have to do is they don't count.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So that is where we're all at the moment.
Yeah, so you can see we're all going to have our own spin on it. We've all got piles of different sizes. We've all got different aims. And I think the thing that we don't want to lose is that we're not trying to make our next year a year of misery. It's all about heading towards this goal of making a dent in the pile. And the bigger that dent can be, the more you're going to win. So certainly with my smaller pile, it looks like I could even, if I knuckle down, finish all my games. Which would be a nice win for me. But if I don't, at least I've made an effort to get down there, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about.
Right, so what's left now is the future. This is basically how much of an idiot we all are. I don't know if you guys have looked. Have you looked at the release schedule for the next 12 months?
Yes.
No.
Don't. It is the worst thing I ever did. I just went through it and I was like, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. Oh, I don't really want that. Oh, but it could turn cheap. If that's cheap, I'll have that. The games that are released, Beyond Two Souls will be coming out in the next 12 months. Rocksmith is coming out in the next 12 months. The Walking Dead is carrying on in the next 12 months.
We need to discuss that. Walking Dead, I've bought the entire season pass thingy on Steam, so I've got it all anyway.
Okay.
But you've mentioned also the Family Guy as well.
Yeah.
Now, until you mentioned it on the notes, I didn't know about that game. Now I want it.
I looked at it and I went, you know what? I bought the first Family Guy game for the PSP, and it was awful. It was the worst game I've ever played on the PSP. It was just a horrible, horrible tie-in. And then I thought, this game's going to be exactly the same, but I can't buy it, so I want it.
Yeah, I think that's the worst thing. I mean, it's like, I've got my pile, or I should say I've got my want list. The next Black Ops, because I can't have it, I know I want it, even though I don't buy the other ones until I drop under a tenner. Same with Bioshock Infinite. I haven't completed Bioshock 1 or 2 yet, but I feel I want Infinite. I'm going to struggle with Borderlands 2 DLC, because that's one game I do really love. Well, Borderlands, and I always bought the DLC on day one. But having to wait till next September, I think is going to be very painful.
I think that all depends on how many points you've got on your account.
Well, as I mentioned, I've got about 1,000 points left, so I can buy probably one DLC.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing of it, isn't it? And the one that was always going to be difficult for me, and as you say, my Joker's already spent because Halo 4 is coming out back end of this year, and because I'm not trying to make this year a misery, I can't miss that one game. So that will be my Joker, but hopefully that will carry me through past things like GTA 5 and and GTA 5.
And don't forget GTA 5.
Yeah. Okay, can we stop talking about GTA 5 now, please?
Yeah. I mean, there's another couple coming out that there was like Most Wanted. I know, Jayce, you've got a thing about the Burnout, which if they're doing that and Most Wanted together, that's just going to be an amazing game from Criterion.
Yes.
Which I'm kind of gutted I'm missing out on. And it's like Spy Hunter as well, they're releasing that for the Vita. And I was like, oh God, please be before the end of September. But it's not. I think it drops like November or something. I was gutted.
Yeah, we're going to miss out on a few, but I think at our sort of age and with our busy lives, a year isn't a great deal of time. And given that some of these big releases are penciled in for February, March, they're going to drop a little bit, hopefully, to April, May sort of time. And then it's only 4 or 5 months until we can play them. Surely that's not too bad, is it?
We'll get to play the demo.
Exactly, yeah. I'll be rinsing the demo.
Hard drive just full of demos by then.
Yeah, that's it.
I think it's worth mentioning how we're going into this. Personally, I'm going in as balls deep as I can go. I'm not going with the Joker. I'm not going with rental. I've now gone on a payment break, so no more rental for me. And I'm also not going with any presents. So purely any games from the beginning of this challenge, I will be playing off my pile. And again, from what I've said previously, it's just to make a dent in my pile. I've got some brilliant games on that pile, all with the cellophane on, and it'd be nice to just break them open. And again, not walk through Tesco's at lunch and think, ooh, look, that's under a tenner, I'll buy that. And then just sit on the pile. Jayce, you're going slightly different.
Yeah, because I don't have a massive pile. I did think about doing a rental and stuff like that, but I've not that idea on the head now. I'm going to keep the Joker just because Halo's the most important franchise for me on the Xbox. And I am predominantly Xbox based as well, so I'm just going to stick with that one. I'm going to avoid presents as much as I possibly can. Not a great deal of people buy me gaming presents. The wife usually does, but I'll get her to buy me something else instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got my iOS as well to tide me through, so that's kind of where I'm going to stay.
Okay. Si, you're slightly other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, you know what, guys? I was thinking about this and I was seeing what you guys are doing, especially you, Darren. Yeah, I mean, you must be drinking or on drugs or something to come out with this.
Says you.
But I was looking at it, and to be honest, I was looking at it and thinking, I've got a really easy ride here. I mean, I've got a rental system as well. And it's like, oh, that's not too bad because, all right, Darren's going to be not having a rental, but Jayce has got one. And then I was going through the tweets that we had initially, and it's like, shit, Jayce hasn't got a rental system.
And he's only got one console.
And I've got a lot, and I've got a lot of games, and I've got a rental system. And I kind of feel like the guy that is making everyone else do it and then not taking it as serious as everyone else. So, with that in mind, I'm not going as balls deep as Darren. Before we get that out of the way, I'm going to have no cold hard cash paid for a game. I can be bought a game for Christmas on my birthday.
Okay.
But that's it. A game.
Okay.
So normally my good lady, as I said, buys 10, 15 games for me for Christmas and birthday. That's been limited down to 1 now. I can use the existing points to buy games from XBLA and PSN, which I've got enough credit on there already. No more credit being bought. I can trade in games, but I really hate that.
Yeah, me too.
And I've got 1 Joker. And I've got the rental system. But I'm only allowed to use the rental system twice during the year.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
So I'm kind of going balls deep. I kind of have to with 260 odd games in the pile.
Let's be honest, if you never got another game for the next 5 years, I think you'd survive.
I'm more worried about the gaming industry, me doing this, than me surviving.
Right, the community involvement section. I'm actually surprised how many people have actually... Well, they're in the same boat as us. They've got massive piles out there and they want to make a dent in it. So I think we just need to shout them out. Okay, so the names are Ho You You Dafty, Drunk Rogue 68, Gizmo, Cheesy Pete, Welsh Mage 1974, Welsh Benno, Foxhounder 01, games 24/7, digital prior, and ADHD. So, anybody else want to join the journey? Feel free. We'll give you a shout out on the next episode.
Yeah, I've got to give respect to the people who are joining in from the community. Everyone's getting involved with the spirit of it. And everybody's taking their own little slant on it. Some people are doing a bit of a trade-off system whereby if they'll clear off 2 or 5 games, they'll earn themselves a right to get one new one. Some people are doing with rentals, some people are doing without, and everyone's putting their own take on it. But we're all aiming towards the same sort of goal and taking down the piles as much as we can over the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the main thing.
So talking to the community, we've got a load of questions. Obviously, with a challenge like this, people need to know what the score is, what the rules are and stuff. So a lot of people have been sending us some questions on the Twitter account we've set up and also on the forum on Midlife Gamer. So I'll read out the first couple. Type 40 Dashboxer has said, does the pile of shame constitute completely unplayed games, barely playable games, or games you've just given up on? And this also ties in with the next question, which is from Loves to Spooge, which was, what is the criteria by which a game ends up on the pile of shame? So, Sarge, do you want to explain the classes for us all?
Yeah, I mean, the classes, what we did was we got Darren Bulldog, Uncle Fester, that we all know and love, to actually define the classes. And then what we've done is we've taken that and we've just put our own little spin on it. So there's 5 classes in total. And that is Class 1. That's your Virginia games. That's games that are unopened or downloaded only, untouched, still has the seal on them. You get the gist. Class 2 games are games that you've played for 20 minutes or less before something distracts you, or as we affectionately call them, doing a mat. The Class 3 games, they are the main campaign has not been completed. You've done a little bit here and there, but you just haven't finished that game.
Yeah.
Class 4 is the unfinished business part. Now, these games are not actually on your pile of shame, but you wish to win some trophies, also some achievements, collect some collectibles, as you do. Hit the top of a leaderboard or set your own personal challenge. Now, just using Mass Effect 2 as an example, some people will feel that the game just isn't complete until they're a member of the 1355 Club, whilst others will just want to complete the story. The choice completely is yours, effectively.
Yeah.
And now Class 5 is a completed game. It doesn't have to be platinumed or 1K'd. It just means you have completed the game in your eyes. Now, I don't mean you start it up and go, yep, that's done. To be deemed a Class 5, the main campaign has to be completed, and there can be no unfinished business in the game.
Yeah, and some of these games, certainly myself, I like to complete as many achievements as I can, and the fact that you can't always 1K a game because a lot of the servers have been turned off, or you can only get the achievements in single player and people aren't playing it multiplayer anymore. It's, again, putting your own spin on it and making sure that everything that you want to complete on that game or you think should be completed on that game is out of the way for a Class 5.
Yeah. Now, I actually sent in the question, and is Season Pass allowed? Now, this was, in theory, this was based on Borderlands 2, because only this week they announced that there was going to be a Season Pass, and I thought, well, if I was to buy this now, would I be good for all the DLC for the rest of the year? I think if we do it before, or should I say buy it before the challenge starts, or buy it with existing points, then I'm sure that's okay, is it?
It's certainly okay by me, mate. Yeah, if the transaction's complete beforehand, I don't see any reason why it can't be in the challenge.
Okay.
I'm happy for it to be as long as the points are purchased before the challenge starts.
Okay, that works for me.
I also asked a question. If I bought the first episode of the series, Walking Dead, it's probably the best one, does each additional episode count as a new game purchase?
Now, this depends on which platform you bought it on. Now, if I understand correctly, if you buy it on Steam, I got it during the Steam sale, and I got all 5 games for the single price. Now, on the Xbox and the PSN, aren't there individual
No,
purchases?
on the PS3, as far as I understand, you can get a season pass for all five episodes, but you can't do it on the Xbox.
That's it, the Xbox. Guess which one I have it on?
The Xbox.
So it doesn't come up as individual games on your machine. It's one game. You actually purchase in the game.
So this can be counted in the previous question, then, really. If those points are assigned, you've got those points sat in your bank. As far as I'm concerned, you should be able to use them. Given the fact that 3 are already out now, it's only effectively 2 more lots of games that are going to come out, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Drunk Rogue sent in Forza 4. He's completed the career but not worked through the list, and don't think he ever will. So is that on his pile? Well, again, I think this goes back to previous. So if you don't feel there is any unfinished business within that game, then no, it's not on your pile.
But if you feel like there's an achievement you could go for, you can call it a Class 4 and then work on it to make it a Class 5 in your own time.
Yeah, indeed.
Drunk Road asked another one as well. Do any of you think you'll complete your pile of shame during this challenge?
I think the only person that would be Jayce, but that would be putting some real.
I think it would have to be Effin. I think to do it, I'd have to really change the way I play games. I'd have to stop playing on the hardest difficulties. I'd have to stop trying to do all the daft side quests, and I'd have to stop playing things in the dark with a blindfold on to make them harder.
While being beaten around the head and...
I think I'll complete it. Thinking it's and doing it.
No, so this isn't the Decade of Shame podcast. It's not.
It is only 365 days.
Not a chance, then.
Another one from Drunk Rogue. Does Xbox arcade titles count towards pile of shame? I've included all mine. I've got a lot on there, which, again, just due to the fact that I always go out and buy a new shiny, I never go back to them. I've got the likes of Crysis on there and Explosion Man and just loads of games that I'd really like to get my teeth back into. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I've got an absolute ton of arcade titles and PSN titles. That is probably my biggest downfall. Is because you're not spending real money.
Yes.
You look at it and go, oh, that's cheap. Buy now. And that's where it sits. And the thing is, I tend to go, oh, buy now, and buy now, and buy now, and buy now. And before I know it, I've got 5 games sitting on there.
Perfect example, Summer of Arcade. I bought the lot, and I think I played the first one for about 20 minutes. The rest haven't even been downloaded yet.
Well, I've put some Xbox Live Arcade titles on there, but I've only put ones on my completion list which have got a tangible story I can go through, or they've got some of the ones like Lumines and stuff like that, when they are games where I want to complete all the achievements. So they're on my list, maybe as a Class 3 or Class 4.
Mage1974 has asked, has it reached the stage yet where we need T-shirts? Come back to that bit in a minute. And also, how about instead of tour dates on the back, we have our respective piles of shame? I would need a marquee.
You need like a full robe draping down to your ankles.
It'd like a big long train like Princess Diana's dress.
No, that's showing your age.
Me?
And regarding the T-shirts, watch this space.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're in discussion.
The next one came from Rubbish News Name. That's not a slant name. That is actually his username. Rubbish News Name has asked, there are many sexy games coming out in 2013. Would it not be better to keep 2 you really want to play than bring the rest along to Eurogamer? You can all go off together in the woods, not for dogging, and make a massive pile of shame fire where everyone hangs their heads while it goes up in flames. And if you say a little prayer for all the unplayed games, and then make a pledge not to waste money that could have been better spent on sausages. Wasn't that our plan B?
I think it was, yeah. But no, we're not going to do that. But it's a good suggestion. I quite like it. Apart from the dogging.
Yeah, agreed. Digital Prior says, what if any of you clear off your pile of shame before the end of the challenge? Is there a limit on purchases still then, or is a pile of shame doesn't grow back? I think the thing is, if, say for example, Jayce is the only person that could possibly do this, and if he was to get through his pile of shame in 6 months, then that's it, job's done.
I've got the same view as well. I think if I did aim to do that and I put in the effort and I cleared the pile off, why should I continue the misery when I've completed the challenge that was set, really?
And I feel that if I manage to clear my pile of shame, I've earned the goddamn right to buy whatever I want.
And you should get a knighthood as well.
Absolutely. G. Williams 8484. What games can be in the challenge? I think we may have covered this.
I don't think we mentioned the formats, though.
When
we said the generation, but we didn't go through all the formats that are in there.
Okay. So again, this is personal choice, but what we've included is Xbox, whether it's physical or digital, PlayStation, physical or digital. I'm including the Vita, the 3DS, and the Wii, and I use a Mac, so I'm using the Steam as well. But that's obviously digital. Obviously, if you have a PC, you're probably going to have a lot more physical discs as well. But again, I mean, we're only going current generation. If your current generation, you're still on Nintendo 64, then so be it. Make that your challenge.
Yeah, definitely. We're a broad church.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you can't forget a bit of love for Nintendo.
So the last couple of questions, we can't assign them to any particular names, I'm afraid. Things have got lost in translation and stuff, but I'll read these ones out and we'll go through them. Is the rental service black or white? By that I mean, is it a case of you either have it or you don't, or can you have rental jokers where you can specify a set number of rentals through the year, say 5? And this kind of goes on to what you were doing, Si.
Yeah, I mean, it was a guy that I can't remember who it was, but if it was you, let us know and we'll give you a shout out on the next show. Because whoever you are, you actually gave me the idea to actually go a little bit further into this and say that I was only going to have so many rentals. So it's totally up to you. If you want 12 rentals, have 12 rentals. If you don't want a rental system, you don't have to have it.
Yeah. Okay, the next question is, how do the offsets work?
Well, that's simple. The person who gave us the idea for the offsets was Darren, Uncle Fister. Because he was basically saying, when we asked him to classify the classes of a pile of shame, he was just like, you guys are idiots. I can't do this. I need to be able to play games. So we're like, well, how can we do it? And he's like, well, I would buy for every 2 games that I complete for my pile, I can buy a game. So that's exactly how the offset works. If you decide that you want to just play, every time you play, say, 3 games, once you've completed them off the pile, you're allowed to put an additional one back onto your pile. We're not sadists, well, you are, but...
Yes, but that's me. Next one was, can I track what games you have on your pile and how many you've completed? Si, I think over to you.
Yes. What you can do is you can look at a document that we've created on Google Docs. The link will be in the show notes on the website. So what you do is you close to that URL and you can see, for starters, what's on Darren's list, what's on Jayce's list, and what's on my list. But you can also see the completion. So you can actually see a percentage of how many games Darren's completed and where they stand. Same for Jayce and the same for myself. But you can also see how we are getting on as a team on the 550 games we have between us.
Wow. So the next question was, I take it as long as you don't buy the game, then any game can be purchased by anybody else at any time. Isn't this a bit of a loophole and takes away the challenge part? So I suppose this question was aimed at getting somebody else to buy the game for you so you can use that as a bit of a loophole and not physically buy it yourself. Where do we stand on this, boys?
Well, I think at the end of the day, the reason we're taking part in this challenge is because we want to reduce the list. In theory, yes, we can just say, oh, here's 20 quid, can you go and buy me that game? But at the end of the day, what are you going to achieve from
It's
that?
counterproductive to the aim, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, you'll have a game.
Another game.
You'll have the... That's it, you'll have another game. But you'll also have the shame. We won't be angry at you, we'll just be disappointed.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, as I said, I'm going balls deep in it. I want to reduce my pile, and I think everybody that's taking part does as well. So if you decide to use that loophole, then you decide to use it. Shame on you.
And the next question we had, it's another loophole as they're talking about. Isn't having space bucks stocked up another loophole that makes it easier?
Agreed, yeah, it does. But as we mentioned right at the beginning, I've got very little space bucks. I can't actually afford that season pass thinking about it. Granted, Si, you've got enough to buy out Microsoft. And Jayce?
I think at the moment I have 1,740 points, and I'm looking to make one purchase before we start. Whether that's Super Meat Boy, which is likely, or something else, I don't know. But that's where I'm at the moment.
Okay. So I won't be topping my points up anymore, which has just kind of upset me knowing I can't buy that season pass. But at the end of the day, that's the challenge.
That's it. I won't be updating my points either. And that is going to be for the online passes, the continuation of anything that Microsoft deemed not worthy of having a season pass for.
Yeah.
So the final question, I won't even say who this is from because it's going to be pretty obvious to anybody who listens to the podcast or hangs around Midlife Gamer. Do any of you invert?
Absolutely. Yep, I
You're
invert.
A bad man. No inverting for me.
I'm going to be a real noob on this. I don't really tend to fiddle with the controls. Isn't this more of a first-person shooter thing? Or a first-person thing?
Well, it is, and also a third person, because I'm playing Sleeping Dogs at the moment. And I've inverted my controller, so the look is up and down, change around. But there's a certain part in it where you're hacking security cameras, and even though you've inverted your controller, the security camera doesn't invert, which is...
Well, that's just right, though, isn't it? Because when you are controlling a security camera, it's usually on a PC, and the arrow keys are the right way around.
Yeah, that's a valid point, actually. I never thought of it like that. Anyway, I'm used to it now, so...
See, that's my point. I don't tend to like first person. In fact, it's not I don't tend to. I'm no good at it. I can't see my feet, I'm not happy.
Of course, the only exception to inverting is when you fly in a plane, because that should be inverted.
I don't think I have a flying game. I might have to purchase something.
All right, it's going to get silly now.
So, no, is my answer simply.
So thanks to everybody who's sent us questions in. Hopefully all your little questions have been answered. But of course, if you've got any more or anything's remaining unclear, please feel free to send us any messages on the Twitter. We have got an account set up at YoS Challenge. And obviously, we're always on the forum as well, so you can send us any questions on there.
So the topic on the forum has also been pinned as well, and you can find that on the forum under Gaming Discussion, and it's the Year of Shame Challenge. So the list. As we said, we're going to pick 5 games a month for us all to basically take a stab at, try and get them off the pile, or at least get them to a better state than they currently are in. For my own sanity, what I've decided to do is try and group the games into, like first-person shooters, real-time strategy, driving, that kind of thing. So my first 5 on the list, which I'd like the community to point me in the direction of one, is Halo CE Anniversary Edition, Killzone 2, Resistance 2, Call of Duty 4, or Crisis. All those are sat on there, and I really think they need the love. Simon?
Okay, my list. I've also gone for a themed, but not a genre theme.
Okay.
So this is maybe games that have got stereoscopic 3D on them, or things like that. But this month, it's X Factor month. Because the good lady is going to be stealing the TV for the majority of Saturday nights, all my games are either handheld or PC. So
Okay.
my games choices are the legendary Plants vs. Zombies, the movies, Everybody's Golf on the Vita, Dave Mirra's BMX Challenge on the PSP, or Hustle Kings again on the Vita.
Okay, my list this month, I haven't got any sort of theme, but they're just games that I really feel I should play. I've got Battlefield Bad Company 2 on the Xbox. A challenge that's just up my street would be to finish all the single-player achievements on Lumines, which has been sitting there for ages needing doing. I've also got Mass Effect 2. I'm probably over 50% through, so a bit of impetus to get that finished would be nice. Mirror's Edge on the Xbox. Again, that's a Class 3 for me, so I'd like to finish that one off maybe. And also Just Cause. This one's Class 3 as well, but with the size of the game and all the collectibles in there, there's an awful lot to finish.
Yeah. That's on my pile too. I'm about 20 minutes in.
Yeah, I forgot to actually mention that, what classes mine are in. It's a simple get through. Class 1, Class 1, Class 1, Class... Yeah, they're all Class 1s.
So there you have it. Those are our lists, and we'd really appreciate if members of the community can get in touch with us and let us know which of those you'd like to vote for us to play for the month of October. You can send your votes to our Twitter account for this challenge at YoS Challenge. And if you just let us know for each person, either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or name the game.
Yeah, indeed. Or you can use the forum thread and keep everything on there. I think it's probably worth mentioning at this time that there is the Midlife Gamer Community Challenge, the Pile of Win, that's going to be going on. Si, do you want to take that away?
Yeah, I mean, basically, the guys, Darren and Matt, I've started the Pile of Win. They talked about it on their last conference call. And this is an event that's taking place for Midlife Gamer this year for Games Aid. Last year, Midlife Gamer raised over £2,000 for Games Aid, thanks to the community that attended Eurogamer. If you were there, you remember the raffles, the drinking, the merriment. That created a whole bunch of money in a pot for Games Aid. So they decided on how could they make it bigger and for people that can't attend Eurogamer, like me. So basically, they're doing the Pile of Win. It's a simple goal to clear one title from your pile of shame and to raise some money and some smiles by doing so. I can already read your mind. You're asking how will this work? But it's simple as well. Basically, to be recognised as Pile of Win, you must play a game from your pile of shame and raise a minimum of £5 for Games Aid. There's some great little rewards as well for taking part in this. If you raise just £5, you get a shout out by Darren and Matt. If you raise £10, you get another shout out from Darren and Matt, but you also get a certificate. And if you raise more than £15, you get the Balls Deep entry and you get a shout out from Darren and Matt and a certificate printed on special paper. And it's personally signed by Darren and Matt. Personally, I'm treating this as a bit of a warm-up for the Year of Shame. To get me in the right frame of mind of completing a game, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be going for the legendary Rock Manager on the PC.
Legendary, is it?
No, it's legendary in my own world. It's been sat on my shelf for 11 years, and I don't think I've installed it on a single one of my
I don't suppose you will
yet.
be able to install it if it's been there that long. Have you got a copy of DOS 6.2 around?
That's it.
Does it come on
Compatibility mode.
floppies? I know I looked my pile. I'm going with Dark Sector. It's one of the first games I bought for the PS3, and it was one of the games that never got the patch to add trophies. So that's going to be interesting, going through without any trophies popping up. Plus, I've lost my save game, so I'd have to start from scratch.
I'm going to put a bit of a co-op slant on this one with my Console Ninjas co-host. We're going to go through Kane and Lynch Dog Days, which we've both had sitting there for a long time, and that's a class 1 for me, and I think it's a class 1 for him as well. So that's going to be interesting, I think.
Okay. Well, that's the end of this show. You can follow us, obviously, on Twitter. It's the YoS Challenge. Or you can find us on the Midlife Gamer Forum.
That's it then, gents. We're off, are we?
Great stuff.
Okay. See you later.
Ta-da.
See you guys. Yeah, you too, guys.